Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen out there in the podcast world. I'm Bruce, one of the co-hosts of this here episode of Fully Dressed. This is my co-host, Star Rookies. And this is where we discuss current events, hot topics, things that sometimes make you go, political stuff, sports, whatever has us interested that day or that time. We're going to talk about it. And so we're going to get this thing started. Let's dive in head first. Rookies, what you got?
I got a couple of things, but am I going to do my monologue first?
Go ahead. Lay it on us.
Smarty pants.
I thought
Well, what? You thought what? Yeah.
I thought you'd
whatever.
be ready.
Well, I am ready. Go ahead and pull up my screen there. And this is what, 4 years ago when Trump visited Saudi Arabia. And that's a topic of Brett's monologue today. Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman meeting in D.C. with President Trump on November 18, 2025 to finalize a new defense contract between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia. The main goal is to sign a new defense pact, which would include U.S. commitment to defend Saudi Arabia, similar to the agreement that we already have with Qatar. Now, they're going to discuss further military and intelligence sharing between the two countries, along with the expectation to discuss the ongoing Gaza situation and ending Iran's nuclear program. In addition, they'll discuss potential sale of F-35 stealth fighter jets. That's already a full plate of issues to try to handle. So now those fighter jets, those are an issue for Israel. I doubt they want us to sell fighter jets to Saudi Arabia that would challenge the Israeli air dominance in the region. President Trump would prefer to normalize relations between the two countries and follow the region and allow the region to be far less tenuous. The route to this normalization would be Saudi Arabia joining the Abraham Accords, which establishes diplomatic relations among several Arab nations with Israel. Kazakhstan just yesterday joined the Abraham Accords. Here's the sticking point where all the negotiations are concerned. Saudi Arabia has publicly stated that joining the Abraham Accords is contingent on the establishment of a two-state solution for the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. In other words, Israel must recognize Gaza as being an independent state. I expect the author of The Art of the Deal to be a deal maker and get this arrangement in order. I have no idea how this will be negotiated out, but I do know the success of the Abraham Accords will depend on the inclusion of Saudi Arabia. And with this, I believe President Trump will eventually have them sign in agreement. Perhaps the solution will become apparent after this visit, or maybe it will be quite some time before the issue is settled. Hopefully sooner rather than later.
Well said. So Israel is concerned that Saudi Arabia will get the fighter jets that will then be more dominant than their own Air Force.
Or will be able to,
This is just a small and weird and crazy fact from my adventurous life that I have been so blessed to lead, is that I waited on Mohammed bin Salman, or whatever his name is, at Disney, like in 2010. If you remember when I had to get
that's crazy.
Debriefed by the FBI, they had to do a background check on me. I wasn't allowed to leave the room, even go to the restroom, without a Secret Service person with me. And he was a total jerk. But one of the biggest tips I ever got. But that's weird, isn't it? Like all those years ago, I waited on him at ESPN Cafe. So weird.
I think the biggest holdup there is Saudi Arabia needs to join the Abraham Accords in order to make that region peaceful. They just do. There's so many countries involved, but Saudi Arabia is one of the big players. And if Saudi Arabia is not going to do it without Israel recognizing Palestine, does Israel want to recognize Palestine, especially in the peace talks that they're in now? How is that going to work? And I would like to see it done on this meeting on November 22nd. I don't know that Trump is going to be able to get that done.
Aren't they still doing they're still fighting, aren't they?
I
know that Hamas is fighting with the cliques or whatever they call them, the different groups inside their own area. They're already fighting against the militias or what have you. I also think Israel and them are they still going at it, even though there's a peace deal or something?
Not hardcore. There's little flare-ups that happen when Israel forces are fired upon, but not the totality that it was 4 months ago.
Brutal. That city, well, it doesn't exist anymore. It's just weird to see that. But
city's decimated.
Oh, it's
in ruins. Yeah, in ruins.
Get it together, man. That's always going to be weird because a lot of our presidents don't even address it. And you have Trump getting I don't know where they're at, but I mean, that sounds like another huge win if he gets it done. And it's almost like everybody around that whole area is supporting it to get done. So it's almost like they have to. So I hope they don't feel like they're being forced into something. So
who?
Saudi Arabia.
I think Israel needs to be strong-armed a little bit too. I think Palestine, I don't think you can. Israel certainly can't take over that land as their own. So you have to make it an independent state. So why are you going to prolong it? Israel needs to give on this. Israel needs to say, okay, we're going to recognize Palestine, but they need a new governing power. And if that means it requires to be policed.
You cannot be in charge ever again, nor can anybody that is related to you in any fashion.
But who manages that? Who polices that? It can't be Israel. It's going to have to be
us.
Actually, it's going to have to. No, we don't want troops over there. Abraham Accords. Abraham Accords needs to set up some sort of governing body.
Well, the thing is, you look at the United Nations, and they hate Jews. The United Nations that they're supposed to help protect all their people in that group, they even hate Israel. So I would be amiss. I would not be comfortable going, okay, we're going to set this up, and then the same people that are in charge of the United Nations that hate Israel, you're going to be in charge of this as well.
I don't necessarily agree with you that the United Nations hates Israel, but okay.
Yeah. You've seen enough of the gatherings that they have. I don't know what you would call them, hearings, I guess, like what we call them. And they are all about F Israel. So
yeah, I think you're reverting back to when the UN had some arrest warrant for Netanyahu.
I'm going to talk about just recently. You have people
that was motivated by the Biden administration in the United States. That was a bunch of crap.
Yeah, and then Mamdani said he's going to arrest him if he ever shows up in New York City.
Well,
so
Mamdani better not show up in any other
that is a
conservative city.
Okay. Yeah, we honestly could talk about basically this for the whole show. And I know I had some things pulled up and you had some things pulled up, but let's dive into that. Just whether it be quickly or the whole show, I don't care. Because I'm amazed that September the 11th was the worst terrorist attack in the United States history. And do you remember, it sucked. It was awful. But in my life, I have never seen such overwhelming patriotism and unity. It's like that in that whole
since 1976.
but since the Turning Point USA thing recently, for like a month or however long it's been, people have been just like, it's been growing and growing and growing. But I
That was
remember
September
so
10th.
well that like it's almost like Turning Point came out of nowhere, even though it didn't, but it almost feels like it did. But like after that attack, it was like instantaneous, and it went on for several years where America, and I mean, like the whole world even joined in and was supportive. And then it hasn't been that long ago. I know it's been 25 years ago, 24 years ago, whatever, but that's not that long ago. And when you look at history and how they will vote for a communist, socialist, Muslim that has taken pictures with some of the people that came up with the idea on how to do that terroristic attack. And that's who he's campaigning with, and how he hates Jewish people, and how he had a picture taken with the president of Uganda who puts gay people in jail, but then he says he's a friend of the LGBTQI whatever community. And then 76% of Jewish women 34 and younger voted for him. And he has been outspoken about globalize the Intifada and all the people that he stands beside. It's just crazy that they would elect that on purpose. And then I'm like, how many people live in New York City? 7 million?
I don't know.
Something like that. And they had at one count like 1.5 million votes between all of them. I don't know what it finished up at, but I'm like, where the hell are the rest of you all? Like, either you work so much that you don't watch the news, or you don't pay attention to what's going on any form, fashion. So then you deserve what you're going to get. And that is going to be the decimation of what was once the greatest city in the world. And I personally feel like it's over. And if you look at what Biden and that administration did to this country in 4 years, look what a Mamdani can do to New York City in 4 years, especially if his governor doesn't ever go against him. So that it didn't actually infuriate me. It actually just like befuddled me. Like,
So
what the hell are these people doing?
There's almost 8.5 million people that live in the city of New York City. 2 million people voted in the election.
So how many of those are minors? Even if you said 3 million, that's still 5 million. You know what I'm saying? Like if there's 8 million people there and say 3 million of them are minors and can't vote. So then there's 5 million people remaining and only 2 million voted. So we're the other 3 million people. And
well, I've been saying for decades to people, especially back when I was a Democrat, I don't care who you vote for. Just register and vote. You're giving too much power to a small sector of people if you don't vote. And I think that's where we get some of these lopsided results.
There was a guy running for something in New York City. And they were interviewing him. It was on Clay and Buck, but I don't know who originally did the interview, but this guy was running for a public office. They asked who he voted for. He was like, oh, I don't vote because my vote doesn't matter. But I'm like, you're running and you want people to vote for you right now, but you are now telling you don't vote because your vote doesn't matter. I'm like, how stupid is that? But those people in New York City, if I were their parents, I would be ashamed. I don't understand how you can vote somebody into power over your city that has historically shown he does not like your people. So that's based off of the things I've read and seen. And it took him a year to say he doesn't agree with the globalized Intifada. Well, they never really said it. And I work with a guy who actually was training last night from Brooklyn that said as soon as he won the Democratic nomination for that spot, he started making a plan to leave the city. And he's been down here for 9 months from Brooklyn or something like that. But he was like, as soon as he won, I was like, we got to go.
I think none of the opinions matter right now. I think we're going to have to look at this a year from now and see where they're at. I think Trump is going to be steadfast in there will be money, support, federal taxes to New York City, but there won't be frivolous money going to New York City. It'll be the minimum, and they will have to jump through chutes and ladders in order to get that money.
Yeah. Not only that, surprisingly, Kathy Hochul has this final say-so about taxes. So Mamdani's like, we're going to raise corporate taxes to meet what New Jersey's is, and we're going to tax the rich from where they're at now. We're going to add 2% to it. But he doesn't have the right to do that, and he can't do it without their Senate or whatever they call it voting it in, and then her saying yes. So he's making all these promises, and he's already like, she's like, I do not support a tax increase. As long as she holds to that, there's how many of his promises that are already off the
So
bench?
you're saying the governor has to approve New York City having a city tax? I don't think that's correct.
Yeah. She has the final say in increasing taxes. But it's what is their chamber or whatever, what's that called? Like Kentucky has a governor, and then the people down below are called what?
Senators and representatives.
But do they have their own Kentucky Congress, Kentucky, whatever you want to call it? You know what I mean? Like when they go there and vote for Kentucky laws. But
the New York governor does not have to approve individual city tax decisions because New York City has a degree of local authority over its own taxes. However, the state legislature must pass and the governor must sign any state level legislation that would enable or change the city's ability to levy taxes. So, Hochul can't stop it. She can present to the New York senators and representatives, the New York constituents, to pass a law that, but now you're getting into exactly what conservatives don't want, a whole bunch of bureaucracy. Let him do it. Let him run people out. New York City will either thrive or it will eat itself. So let's do it. Let's put it to the test. You want socialism? He's an admitted socialist. People on the right are calling him a communist. You can define that however you want to do it. But at minimum, he's called himself a socialist. Let's see how socialism works in New York City. I'm good with it.
And he quoted a Marxist that had from a book of this guy, and he led that group from like the 1900 to like 1920. His name was Ed Jones. I don't know the name, but he quoted him. And it was like, in the words of this guy, I'm like, he at his victory speech is quoting a Marxist. And I'm just like, he's not hiding it. And that Sansor lady wields more power than is not being reported by anyone really. Like this lady, she may as well be the mayor. And I think she holds a lot of power over him. And she's in charge of all these different organizations that are anti-American, anti-capitalism, anti-Jew. Like, and how is it like you are not from this country? If you come over here and you start doing things that are going to purposely try to tear down this country, you shouldn't be allowed to be here. Like that's just how it should be. If I went to Italy and started screwing shit up on purpose and doing malicious things to tear that country's government down, they should be able to kick me out. And they would. Like they would, every country would, except us. We're just like, you know what? Come on in, build your mosque, build your terror cells, because we don't want to be politically incorrect.
Well, there's okay. I'll cut you off there. There's a bill that's being introduced by somebody, I can't remember who, in the federal legislature. I can see him, but I can't recall his name. Making it, you must be a U.S. born citizen in order to serve in the federal elected government.
I'm okay with that.
20 years ago, I'd have said no. 10 years ago, I'd have said maybe. Today, I guess I got to agree with you.
If
it's too easy to question someone's motives if they are a naturalized citizen, especially in warfare today. Isn't we're going to come over and kick your ass. It's we're going to infiltrate your country
from the inside, and it's over,
and get you from the inside out. So, but if they did pass that, and if they're talking about getting it passed before the elections next year, there are some 300 and some candidates nationwide. That number may not be accurate, so no fussing. That people that are going to have to be removed from the ballot. So we have a number of people running for federal government that are not natural born citizens.
The guy from Minneapolis has been in this country for like 10
he lost,
or 11
didn't he?
years. He lost, but they had to keep doing those, what do they call them, rank and file or something like that, where you basically go into like a round robin and you have to survive the next count to go to the next round. And after each round, they eliminate somebody. So the mayor, the current mayor, was up for re-election. He's been there for 4 years, I think. And he had to go to like 3 or 4 rounds against a Somali-born guy from 10 years ago who hates America. Like he talks about how bad it is and how it's.
But he didn't win, right?
He did not win. But what does it say when that guy took the incumbent? I can't say that word. Incumbent mayor to like 3 or 4 extra rounds in the vote off to get reelected. I'm like, the one guy that went to Pennsylvania last year as a voting generator, he would go out and like door to door, knock, hold rallies to get people to register as Republicans so they could turn the state. He has long hair. I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember his name either.
Richard or something like that. But like, when I've listened to him and seen him, I'm like, that guy's brilliant. He's so smart. But then how could he miss so badly on some of these other places. Like if he was aware, because I remember him saying New Jersey was next, but then I didn't really see his presence there during this election time. But I also know the Democratic Party basically drained their war chest for those couple of races. So they literally are broke now. They have no money. So, but they still won. I'm like, what is wrong with you people?
It's hard
What
to
is
win in
wrong?
the liberal states right now. It's just hard because there's so much. It wasn't so much a vote for Mamdani, it was a vote against Trump. It wasn't a vote for the governor of Virginia, it was a vote against Trump. It wasn't a vote for the mayor of New Jersey, which that's where I think they really screwed up. I really like that guy that was running for governor of New Jersey. It was a vote against Donald Trump. This Trump delusion, Trump TDS, derangement syndrome, it's real because I wouldn't say that. I have a hard time with that. But there's so many people that everything Trump does is for himself and not for the country. And you just can't.
A logical thought person would know immediately that was bullshit.
Right. This is good and this is good, but this.
Right. I'd be thinking to myself, I'm like, that is such a crap load. Like, you are so wrong. And I don't talk politics at work, minimally, on occasion, but I minimally, I will cut myself out of the conversation because it could go wrong quickly and like
because it's hard. It's difficult to refrain from saying, "Are you stupid?"
Yes. But I hear people at work that say things. So I asked a guy, he's a gay guy, and he was saying something negative about Trump. I'm like, why do you hate Trump? Oh, he's trying to kill all the rights for the gays and the lesbians, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, tell me one. What is he doing? What has he done in 9 or 10 months? Tell me, right? Like, what has he done to take away your rights? Well, he hates Palestine. I'm like, that's not the same thing. You said this, but they can't even come up with an answer. And it's just, and when they do have an answer where they don't like him, it sounds exactly like Rachel Maddow saying it on MSNBC. Oh, he is a threat to democracy. And I'm just like, what? It's so stupid. But when you see people like that, you're just like, there's no way. Like, you and I can have a conversation about peanut butter. I would say my piece, you would say your piece. I would try your peanut butter, you try mine. We're like, okay, yours is better. I believe this. Now I believe this because you showed me facts and let me, like, I got a piece of it. But when other people that hate Trump, it doesn't matter. Where it's like, you could be Willy Wonka and be like, here's the golden ticket. And Trump could be handed out and people be like, no thanks. It's just crazy. So,
all right, next topic.
Next topic. I don't know if I talked about this or not, but Haley McKnight from Helena, Montana. I don't think this is going to be it. Yeah, this is it. So this lady was running for public office and left the guy she was running against a voicemail. So I'll just read this one piece to you, and then I'll just be like, this woman cray. It's like, hi, this is Haley McKnight. I'm a constituent in Helena, Montana. McKnight started off in her voicemail, a recording of which was obtained and verified by Fox News Digital. I just want to let you know that you are the most insufferable kind of coward and thief. You just stripped away health care for 17 million Americans, and I hope you're really proud of that. I hope that one day you get pancreatic cancer and it spreads throughout your body so fast that they can't even treat you for it. Like, What the F, man? Like,
I wish death on you.
dude, yeah, like what is the deal? Like, and that's you. That to me is equal to the Jay Jones thing. Like, you wish death upon people, you got my vote. Like, what is like? I don't know what is happening to people's brains right now. Like, why are they so fried? It's so insane to me. I don't understand it. I don't. Michelle Wu or whatever her name is in Boston got reelected as the mayor of Boston. I'm just like, she is awful. And I was reading some of the comments, and people were like, "What a rising star of the Democratic Party." I'm like, you are effing up your state so badly, and you got reelected. So
You
now
know, somebody that it surprises me we never heard about or from in the last 3 months during this election cycle up in the Northeast, Josh Shapiro.
they don't want him.
He's a hardcore Democrat. He's Jewish.
That's why they don't want him.
Well,
I think that's one of the reasons he wasn't chosen to be a VP candidate. That's another reason that when they tried to burn his house down, it came and went in like a bleep.
yep. Yeah.
Like today, it's like, what? Tomorrow, on to the next thing. Like I don't think they care because he's Jewish. So they're like, run your state, keep doing that. That's all. We'll let you know if we need you. So I feel like because he's Jewish, I mean, being a governor is a big deal. Being a president's a bigger deal. But he's like Bernie. They're not going to let him be the president. If Bernie would have been 60 now, then I would really believe Bernie would have a
It'd be in his wheelhouse. Yep. I agree with you.
in
I
a
agree
year or
with
two, he'd be president at the rate these cities are going. But he's too old now. So, and he has 3 houses that are over $2 million each, and he has a private jet. But he's still the working man.
Where are we at? We're at 32 minutes. I got 2 more stories.
All right, add it to the stage.
Yeah, we'll go. Nope, not that one. That one was the old one. Let's do this one first. Okay.
I don't see it. I have the same one.
I don't see it on the screen
because I don't have an option to bring it up. Okay. Just replace the other one.
Okay. This is interesting. What is the filibuster, Bruce?
I don't know 100% exactly what it is. I know they talk for as long as they can talk, and it's in defiance of whatever they're trying to vote for because as long as he's talking, they can't go to the vote of whatever they're going to vote for.
And it requires 60 votes in the Senate
for them to pass something. So if they eliminate it, then the Republicans can just decide whatever they want because they're in power without having to have their approval.
And how do they eliminate it?
They don't have to have a certain number of votes as well inside of their party.
How to end the filibuster, changing the rules. Most direct way to eliminate filibusters, formally amend Senate Rule 22. That would require 2/3 of senators present and voting. So that's one way they could do it, but that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about what? The nuclear option. This is a way to bypass the 60 vote threshold without changing the formal rules. A senator raises a point of order claiming a rule is being violated. The presiding officer makes a ruling, and then the full Senate can vote to appeal that ruling. If the appeal passes with a simple majority, 51 votes, it can establish a new precedent that lowers the threshold for ending debate on a specific type of measure. So, to use a nuclear option, one of the senators is going to have to say, this isn't working. We need to do this. Head of the Senate says yes. But the head of the Senate right now isn't going to do it. I forgot what his name is.
Thune.
John Thune. But I do not like ending the filibuster. I like 60 votes. I would have never said anything about using the nuclear option because they could get it done right now. They've got 53 votes. If they do this, they need to do a lot, but I don't know, can they then reset it?
I don't think so.
Because then they would need 60 to...
Right. Put it back in. Like, cancel it. Let's do all of our stuff, and then we'll put it back into place. I don't think that works, and that's the one of the reasons I think, and I don't know all the rules to it, but the Democrats didn't do it last time. But now, where the Democratic Party is, and at some point in our future, they're going to be back into the White House. They're going to be back in charge. It'll happen. It may be 8, 10, 12 years, whatever. They will be back in the White House. And I think on day one, and it's the only reason that I'm for it right now, is I really believe on day one of a Democrat being back in the White House, the filibuster is gone. So
the Democrats would have to have a majority in the Senate in order to do that.
Or use a nuclear option if they're in charge.
The nuclear option would require 51 votes.
But if they're in charge,
the president cannot invoke the nuclear option. The Senate has to do it.
I'm just saying, the first day of Democrats back in the White House, that filibuster.
Not in the White House.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. When a Democrat gets elected to be in the White House and takes over as president, then that pretty much means that the Democrats also won the House and the Senate, or one or the other. Assuming
facts not in evidence, but okay,
right.
Yes.
I'm just saying. Then I think that they're going to go in and eliminate the filibuster on the first moment they can do that. They will eliminate it. So then why not do it now while we're in power and get all the stuff done that we want to get done, instead of like, it's a bad move because then they'll come in and they don't care about precedent. They would be like, we're in charge now. Let's F them over, kill it, and do whatever they want to do. Stack the Supreme Court and all that kind of stuff. So I just think that it's not as a bad idea as I thought it was the first time I heard about it. I'm like, you know what? Why not? If you believe they're going to do it, why not take advantage of it now?
Okay.
So that's just my
thought. We'll see what happens. It's up to John Thune whether he's gonna. He speaks every day in the Senate chamber as who's the House Mike Johnson does his little 11 o'clock every day regarding this.
Yeah,
I mean we've got the government shut down and nobody notices.
Nobody notices, but then the stuff that should be taking place right now, a lot of these asshole judges are putting stops on this, putting stops on that. And that's what I'm saying is, like, if you end the filibuster, at least let him get some of the things accomplished that he's wanting to, because every time he tries to do something, they fight him on it. I'm like, just in the filibuster, let him do whatever he wants, fix all the stuff, let's go. And because it's going to be
I didn't like what the Supreme Court did regarding tariffs. I have to look a little deeper into it, but they sound like they're leaning against the president's right to use tariffs, and I've got a real problem with that. I didn't think that would ever be a real legitimate question.
I agree.
What is he going to have to do? Go seek congressional approval in order to apply the tariffs? And if you have to do that every time,
it said something like it's unconstitutional or something like that. I'm like, F off. He's trying to fix the country. Like, your way has not worked. It has been proven. So sit down and shut up and get a pencil out and a piece of paper and take some notes and see how this is done. So
there's one more big issue that got discussed during this Supreme Court meeting. You can go ahead and bring that up. Wow. Wow.
I don't know if that is a real thing. You know what I mean? Like how dedicated are they to it? You know what I mean? Like, but they eliminated
it's a closed door conference. Among the new cases, justices are expected to consider a long shot appeal from Kim Davis. Do you know who Kim Davis is?
I do not.
Remember the Kentucky clerk that refused to issue the marriage license?
Yes.
She's the one that appealed the Obergefell versus Hodges ruling, which allows same-sex marriages.
She was from like Grayson or something, right?
Yep. And the justices could say as early as Monday what they'll do.
You know, because I don't have my glasses on. What's the next paragraph say below? Anything important? I can't see it.
In urging the court to take up her case, Davis lawyers repeatedly invoked the words of Justice Clarence Thomas, who alone among the 9 justices has called for erasing the same-sex marriage ruling.
I had never heard that.
Well,
have you heard that from Clarence Thomas?
They weren't for the nation. It's the same thing with the abortion. They don't want to say that it can't be. They want to say that it can't be mandated by the federal government. State government has to approve it.
Yeah.
But then you get into if Kentucky, Ohio, and West Virginia have same-sex marriage, and you go to Indiana, that marriage should be recognized.
Right. Or you're going to get arrested for being married.
So I've got a real problem if the Supreme Court overturns Obergefell, because it would be where we're at with marijuana. You can buy it in some places, and in some places you can get arrested for it.
Yeah, if I buy this, you buy weed in Florida, you can't take it to Kentucky.
Right.
Because you're now breaking the law. Same with a gun. I have guns. I can open carry here in Florida. But like in New York City, you'll go to jail for having a gun.
Yeah.
So,
but shouldn't that be what it is? We're a republic.
That's state to state. If I want to come to your state, then I have to follow your rules. If my speed limit's 75 in Florida, but yours is 55, and I
should that apply? Should that apply to marriage though? Here's the common ground I think that liberals and conservatives are going to need to meet on. I think we're going to have to stop using the word marriage and call it a civil union, and that a civil union can be between any two adults. A marriage, because the conservatives want to defend that word so much, is between a man and a woman. Does that mean I feel that way? No. But do I feel like that's the middle ground? Maybe.
I don't know. I just want to make sure I say it correctly. Only from I don't want to be more confusing with when I say it than I in my head already is. I don't think it's almost like the Supreme Court takes things from a personal standing versus a legal standing. And it's like, okay, I know you're conservative. I know you're liberal, whatever. You don't like this. What does the law say? It doesn't matter what you think or feel.
Right. They're supposed to define the law.
What does the law say? And I feel like on both sides that it becomes a personal thing on their decisions that they're making on any of these things. Like when they did the abortion thing, it's almost like it was a personal feeling versus just give it to the states. Let states decide. If you don't like what your state does, go to another state, go elsewhere. And I feel like they're putting personal decisions in the mix when it shouldn't be. And I think Ketanji Brown is the worst at it. Every time she says something, she'll say something, and it's
She's
like
pretty,
that's a personal feeling that you have towards something. That doesn't matter. Like that shouldn't matter. That should not be permitted to matter. Like you were in the highest court in the land. You should not be making laws off of your feelings for me or anyone else because of how you feel about something. It should be what is the right and what does the law say. Do that, and they don't. So,
Well, if they're breaking it down and giving it in control of the states, okay.
Yeah,
but then you're stuck on I'm legally allowed to carry a gun here, but not there. I'm legally allowed to be married here, but not there.
Yeah.
Because you will have some conservative states that don't allow same-sex marriages.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the federal government needs to pass a law recognizing a civil union to have all the rights across the country as a married couple and just leave it at that. Then there's no question.
Yeah.
You can call yourself married. You can have a wedding where it's a marriage in a state that allows it. And then when you go travel to a state that doesn't have same-sex marriage, it's still a civil union. So your wedded person is the next of kin, the right to make a decision in the event of an emergency. There's a lot of things that are any benefits. They should be expected for a civil union as well as a marriage. I think that's the only way around it.
Well,
I hope the Supreme Court does not overturn Obergefell. I hope not.
Well, and the reason I feel like now that I've seen that, like if it goes before them, then there's a chance it will be.
They could be deciding today, right now, in closed session.
Their feelings. And I'm telling you, if you listen to her speak, Ketanji Brown, every time she says something, well, it is in my opinion. I'm like, it's not your opinion. Like,
and she should replace opinion, and you should, when listening to her, for interpretation.
Right.
My interpretation of the law is this.
But my interpretation of the law with how I personally feel about it is this. You can't have that piece in there.
I agree.
And I really believe some of the things that go before them, like I used to think, man, your Supreme Court, whoa, that's a big deal. Now I'm just like, depends on who's hearing this and what they're going to say. And if she's a lefty, and if it goes, and she's the one who is like, if she's a deciding factor, you're going to lose. It's like a political,
the same can be said on a liberal perspective if Clarence Thomas is the deciding vote because he's so conservative.
Right. You shouldn't be able to use that though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how to say it correctly, but you should not be permitted, or it should not be accepted that when you make a ruling, it's based off of your personal feelings. It can't be even half and half or even a partial.
So what you're saying is we should only select men on the Supreme Court.
I am not.
Is that what you're saying?
I am not saying shit. So where do you want to eat? Let's get pizza. No. Okay, what do you want? Anything's fine. Let's get a burger.
Okay.
No.
Stop. Stop.
Rubber road. Stop talking.
Not good. Don't do it. Nuclear option. Hit it. Boom.
Next day on the Auckland day. Like, zip it, cut it.
No way.
Balls.
No way. No way.
I love my wife immensely.
Mm-hmm.
She will not make a decision on dinner if she is remotely tired. But I never know what she wants. So it's just like an hour of just talking. So if I'm hungry in an hour or going to be hungry, I need to start talking about dinner like right now.
That's where you need to put up all these different options on a dartboard and go, okay, if you won't decide, here's where we're eating. Boom.
We have a bowl with all these different things in it. We mix it up, grab things out of it.
But you can't pull one out and then say, no, I don't want that.
I could literally eat nothing or anything except like chicken livers and gizzards, frog legs, that weird shit. But like you could say, do you want something from here? Yes. What do you want? I don't give a shit. Order anything you want off of that menu and I will eat it. And I'll be okay with it. But she's like, well, we had pizza 4 weeks ago on a Tuesday and it's been too soon.
Dude, does she listen? She clearly doesn't listen to these. She clearly, because you're in deep shit.
You know.
You're in deep shit.
I'm like, what do you want to eat? I don't know. I'm like, please don't do that. Like,
Deidre, at the 50-minute mark of episode 8.
You said you were edit this shit out.
No, I'm not editing nothing.
We'll stop recording.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are actually coming on the end here. So, I guess what we covered today is all you idiots that voted for Mamdani. That's on
Don't call them idiots.
They are dumbasses.
Well,
they are. And not in a hateful way. It doesn't mean if I met you, we wouldn't be friends. But I 1000% do not want you packing up your stuff when it starts falling into itself and drive your happy butt down to Florida and expect us to welcome you in and then bring that same attitude to Florida. So don't New York to Florida. You already screwed your whole state up. Don't bring that crap down here and try to pull it here. It's unacceptable. And this is on their own. Like, I'm sure they're very nice people that live there. How about this? That was an ignorant decision and a stupid decision. That doesn't mean you're ignorant and stupid. That decision you made was ignorant and stupid. How's that?
I think calling somebody stupid is difficult. I think ignorant, I'm okay with calling somebody ignorant if I believe that they're ignoring the facts, because that's what ignorance is. You're ignoring the facts.
Used to say you were unlearned or something like you're unlearned.
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. No.
You do. I remember.
That was your other friend.
No, I've only had one other friend. It was Wade, and Wade wasn't going to talk that way. But how about that? You were unlearned.
Unlearned.
Of like if I tell you something about something that you know nothing about, it could be anything. Say it's cutting grass or whatever. And I tell you something, I can't be really frustrated with you if you have never heard of that before. So you don't know about it. So how can I be mad about you over this if I'm telling you something and you're like, I never heard of that. But I feel like I have the right to be frustrated and to say things to those that are educated on something and then make a foolish decision, then I think you're an open game.
Okay.
Like, I think that, like, if you know this, it's like, oh, it's a thunderstorm outside. Give me all the metal and steel I can hold, and I'm gonna go out in the middle of the yard in a thunderstorm. That's stupid because you know that your chances of being struck by lightning are much greater. So if you do it, like, how that's your fault for being a dumbass. But if you know how bad things can be, and yet you still go that way, then you have the right to be bashed for being stupid in that moment. You may not be a stupid person, but your opinions about that and your way you vote is stupid. So anyway,
The
otherwise,
Bengals will not lose this weekend.
we're off, aren't we?
Yeah, it's a bye week.
How many bye weeks do we have? 8?
No, that was our first one.
God,
But Burrow getting hurt has. Ooh, have you heard the talks about trading Burrow for 3 first-round picks to who
I
is
have. And here's my side of that. Please, for the love of God, don't do it. But if I were Burrow, I would be tempted to encourage them to go for that. So I could get somewhere where whoever owns and runs that team will actually get people in there that will protect me. But like, look, man, Burrow out, Kyler Murray out,
Jaden Daniels,
which was gruesome.
Yeah.
There was somebody else that just came back recently. There's like 5 or 6 quarterbacks out. So there's like,
Pause. This is Brett.
back. All right. So don't want to be disparaging to anyone. I don't want that to come out that way. But it in that moment and for that instance, how about that? You were crazy and stupid. But you have anything else you want to add before we shut her down?
Nope. I'm looking to see what comes out of the Supreme Court today. I'm looking for the government shutdown to end, but that's on the Democrats. For those people that say it's on the Republicans, it's not. It's a continuing resolution, which means everybody's going to get paid, but we're not going to pass anything new into the spending bill until we talk about it. But unfortunately, at this point, the one that was passed by the House of Representatives is supposed to end on like the 23rd of November. So even if they did come together today and pass it in the Senate, it would expire in a week or two. And we'd have to go through all this again. So might as well just keep it closed, pass another continuing resolution, and put it back in the Democrats' lap, because this is so unfair to our TSA members, to our military folks, to those people not receiving any money. I think a lot of the military are being taken care of, because if you've got a bank, if you're banking with one of the military banks, they're going to allow you access to the money because they know it's going to come back to you as soon as this is passed. So you're going to get a no interest account that'll allow you to pay your bills, and people aren't starving. People aren't.
Well, and people also need to understand that these deadlines that are approaching are all Democratic. They put it into place. It was their expiring deadline. So you can't do something and to be mad at the other person for like taking you up. Like, all right, you want to? All right, let's fight. And now you're going to lose. So I think it'll be over by tomorrow.
Oh, no way.
I think tomorrow or Monday, I think it'll happen.
Longest in history right now.
Yep. And this is going to be a huge tool in the midterm elections. This administration has had the 2 longest government shutdowns in recorded history. You know, man, it's like it's a talking point.
It's not going to change my vote. I don't
Me
care.
either. Oh,
I don't care.
Me either. So
let the elections come. Let's see some. Let's see some battles. Let's see some results in Virginia and New York City, and let's vote based on that. We'll be all right.
And one more thing before I go, I do want to say that Kamala Harris came out and said she spoke to several of the rising, amazingly talented stars of the Democratic Party, and then she said Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett will be in the top 5 for the presidential Democratic nomination.
Democrat nomination. I look forward to the Democrat debate.
Oh man, they're going to have
that is going to be so much fun.
They have to attack each other. There's no way around it.
I think the Republicans are going to have 2 or 3 because they're going to come together and say we can't be beating each other up. They're going to have 2 or 3 and say whoever wins is going to be president. Whoever comes in second is going to be VP. And then whoever comes in third, you can be chief of staff or whatever.
Yeah, and don't throw each other into the bus. But the Democrats are going to have to come out guns a-blazing. I just started shooting because they're going to have to. Because there's going to be 18 or 20 of them.
Agreed.
I'm ready for that, man. Like I'm ready to see that. That will be.
I don't want to speed up through Trump's term. I want to see him get shit done.
But I definitely want to see that. That's going to
that next primary election cycle is going to be fun to watch.
Be lit.
Yes,
anyway,
it will.
We're past our time by 2 minutes, so we just want to say thank you very much. Appreciate the likes, shares, subscribes. Please stay tuned. This will be up shortly. We'll be back next week. And we appreciate you paying attention and telling people about us. So maybe blessed to be on measure. God bless America. God bless our president. God bless each and every one of you. Have a great day. Peace out.